When you scoop into a carton of commercial frozen dessert from your local supermarket freezer aisle, you might assume you are eating rich, traditional dairy made from cream and milk. But under federal food standards, many popular options cannot legally be called ice cream at all. Independent laboratory testing of common frozen dessert brands has consistently shown that a significant percentage of products sold in the United States rely heavily on palm oil, hydrogenated vegetable fats, and artificial emulsifiers rather than actual heavy cream. Where are you watching from in the United States? Comment your state below, whether you are tuning in from Texas, California, Florida, Ohio, New York, or Georgia, and tell us how old you are in the comments. The United States Food and Drug Administration maintains strict standards of identity for what manufacturers can officially market as ice cream, requiring a minimum milk fat content of 10% along with specific limits on added air. When a tub in the grocery store exceeds a certain percentage of overrun, which is the industry term for injected air that puffs up the volume, the regulatory classification instantly shifts from dairy dessert to frozen dairy dessert or ice confection. Beyond the FDA labeling definitions, the Federal Trade Commission oversees advertising and marketing claims to ensure that companies do not mislead consumers with pastoral imagery of rolling green pastures on tubs containing industrial chemical stabilizers. Let us examine the first category of products on our list of brands to scrutinize, which are those budget-friendly tubs found on bottom shelves that substitute expensive dairy fat with cheaper fractionated palm kernel oil. Consuming these vegetable fat formulations means you are paying mostly for water, corn syrup, and thickeners like cellulose gum and polysorbate 80, which mimic the mouthfeel of real cream without any of the actual nutritional value. Moving up the price ladder, we encounter mass-market brands that technically use milk and cream but incorporate massive amounts of high fructose corn syrup and artificial food dyes to achieve bright colors and long shelf lives. The widespread use of mono and diglycerides in these mid-tier products prevents separation during shipping. Yet food scientists frequently raise questions about how these synthetic chemical additives impact human digestion over time. Then there are products marketed as light or low-fat, which often compensate for the removal of natural dairy fats by dumping in maltodextrin, modified cornstarch, and artificial sweeteners like sucralose to keep the texture creamy. This brings us to the growing segment of plant-based frozen desserts made from almond milk, oat milk, or coconut milk, which rely on pea protein, isolates, and gar gum to hold their shape in the absence of animal proteins. While these alternative options cater to lactose-intolerant consumers, many brands add heavy amounts of cane, sugar, and industrial stabilizers to replicate the rich density of traditional dairy products. To navigate this crowded freezer aisle effectively, smart shoppers should always flip the carton around and check the ingredient list to ensure cream and milk appear before any gums, oils, or sweeteners. True ice cream requires very few ingredients, typically just fresh cream, milk, cane sugar, and egg yolks, meaning that if your ingredient list reads like a chemistry textbook, you are holding a heavily processed industrial creation. Fortunately, several independent creameries and regional dairy brands still produce authentic, minimally processed ice cream using slow-churned methods and local farm fresh milk without synthetic additives. These traditional producers honor historic dairy standards by letting the natural richness of grass-fed cow milk provide the flavor, proving that delicious frozen treats do not require chemical shortcuts or artificial inflation. Let us know in the comments which ice cream brand is currently sitting in your kitchen freezer right now, and leave a like and share if you found this breakdown useful for your next grocery trip. Remember that the goal here is not to create fear or demonize a beloved treat, but rather to empower you with label reading skills so you can make informed choices for your household.